Hello everyone, welcome to JSKX and my name is Deepak. Here in this tutorial, I'm going to be talking about Cypress. Cypress is precisely another testing framework which is very popularly used in the testing scenarios lately. So before I explain anything more about it, I just want to bring your attention to something very important that I've stumbled upon just recently. So there's a very pretty diagram I found online and which tells us the cost of a bug and time to market, right? So the cost of a bug is there on the y-axis and time to market is basically on the right, which is on the x-axis. So if you look closely at this particular diagram, you would realize the cost of a bug is very minimal when it comes to unit testing, and the cost of a bug increases and becomes very costly when it appears in the production app, right, or live production grade application. Same time to market is also very minimal when it comes to unit testing, and if the earlier you find a bug, the better it is for your application to fix it, right? And then there are also other benefit if you find a bug early, which is your reputation is also at the stake. If you have a buggy product available online, it is not really a very good idea to have it. So you may wonder, I as a developer, I have been talking about Angular development all that while. Why have I picked up anything like Cypress or a testing? It's something which I have lately learned in my career is that even if you are a developer or a tester, the unit testing is a responsibility, is a collective responsibility, right? So let me just write it down for you. To say this. So why have I picked up anything like this? So it's very important for us to understand that. Please understand that this is a very important and a bold statement. The reason why I say it's very important and bold is because if any one of the party which is involved in this particular statement, which is basically tester, developer, and product owners, if any one of the party is not available or in not in agreement about the testing, then the product likely to be buggy and likely to have major problems when it goes live, right? So unit testing is something, or unit testing, or rather I would say E2E testing, or in total I can just summarize it and by saying testing. So testing is a collective responsibility of all the people involved in this manner. So why am I saying this? Why am I saying that testing is a collective responsibility? So consider this diagram. Like assume a scenario where testing is not a collective responsibility of all the parties. What would happen? You would go probably light on testing, and if you go probably light on testing, then there are high chances that you would send buggy product in the market. And if you send a pretty buggy product in the market, the chances are that your reputation will be hampered. Chances are that customer engagement would go down. Chances are that in order to fix those, or in order to fix certain aspect of your application, if you realize it much later, chances are that you may have to do an architectural change as well. So it is better for us to find out a bug early, right? So in considering these two points that I've just made, I also want to bring your attention to the next part of the game, next part of the equation. For a while now, industry is moving towards a different paradigm altogether. So let me just bring your attention to something important. Right. So if you look at this particular article, it tells us that there's one of the article which I liked pretty much. It's basically written by one of the person called Sam Barton. He's a CTO of a fintech company, and he speaks about, or he basically writes about the importance of releasing multiple times in a day, or basically releasing as soon as you can, right? So why it is important is because, let's say if you figure out a bug in your application and you wish to release that into the production immediately, you don't really have to go to the regression cycle all over again. If you do, if you have automation test cases written properly for your application, you will be 100% certain that it hasn't really any change that you fix hasn't really broken any existing functionality, as a result of which you can very happily go and release. So this is another paradigm where the application, where the industry is moving, right? So considering all these three factors, right, so it is important to just recap all of these. First, if you find a bug early, it is easier for your application to fix them. If you and the testing is basically a collective responsibility of all the people involved. Third, releasing early, releasing fast with 100% certainty is a very good is the paradigm where the industry is trying to move towards, right? This is one of the article, but then if you look at closely, if you search over the internet, you would find multiple such articles where people are moving in this direction, right? So be it Amazon, Flipkart, and many other companies in this direction are automating their applications such that they don't really have to do run the regression every now and then. Once an application or a bug or a feature is available, they just go and release it live and they fix it on the go, right? So they don't really have to wait for long months, and then may really need to make schedules to fix that, right? So this is another part, right? So now we now understand that what how and why testing is so important. Now let me bring your attention to something important, right? So now I'm going to be talking about the Cypress is precisely the testing tool that we're going to be using in this tutorial and application. The application which I have chosen to test using Cypress, or basically write an automation test cases using Cypress, is something which I built recently, right? Or rather a couple of months ago. So if you log in here, and then once you log in here, and then you would notice that it has a landing page. It has 3 tabs right here, right? So it basically moves around different tabs and calls an API to bring this result. And here on the student's name, you can basically search by the ID. And let's say if you type down the number 4, then the fourth record would be pasted here, or would be shown here. So 1 2 3 4 Wong, right? So fifth is Hong. So let's say if I write 5, what would happen? So Hong would appear, right? The moment you delete it, this disappears. So this is something which I had written for my Redux tutorial. So if you go on my YouTube channel, you would figure out how to create that app. In case if you want to know more about it, here is the channel of mine wherein you can go and can look at this particular playlist, which is about Redux and an NGRX state management.
Hello everyone.
So if you come here in the Redux and NGRX state management, you would figure out that how to create that application, and that application is something which I built just recently, right? So I'm going to be using that application to learn or to create tutorial around Cypress, and I'm going to be testing that, automating by writing the automation test cases, right? So the whole idea of this application is that firstly I'm going to be talking about the architecture of Cypress. Next we will move towards the then we will start writing how many type of test cases are written in Cypress. So let me just open the Cypress documentation also. So here you just come here, and then if you go to the docs, you would notice that there are 2 type of test cases one can write, which is end-to-end test cases and component test cases. So we're going to be writing both of them. Firstly we will start with component, and gradually we'll move towards the end-to-end test cases, right? So we are also going to be looking at the architecture. We are also going to be looking at the best practices around Cypress and how and why it is important for us to learn those. At the same time, I'm also going to be talking about, and as you have seen already, that I've made use of an Angular application which was built a few months ago by me for a tutorial. I'm going to be testing that particular application in this entire tutorial, right? So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be talking a lot more interesting stuff here in this tutorial, wherein you would learn a lot about Cypress testing framework, and you would learn a lot about its capabilities and why it is important and things like that. So please stay tuned, and if you haven't really subscribed to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also hit the bell icon. In case if I post a new video, you would be notified. So thank you very much once again, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to be seeing you in the next tutorial, wherein I will talk about the Cypress architecture, and then we will move from there to start writing component and end-to-end test cases. So thanks once again, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you in the next one.